Hi everyone, welcome to today's workshop. So in this workshop, in this webinar, we are going to build our own coding agent. A few words about me, for those who don't know me, I've been in software engineering for more than 15 years. 12 of them I've been doing something related to data science, machine learning. And last couple of years when AI appeared, I've been involved with multiple AI projects. I am also teaching. I've been teaching for, I don't know, 5 years. I have done many courses. And in this workshop today, I'm going to present some materials from an upcoming course from me. And right now, I'm going to share a link in the chat. I hope people who join this chat after I share the link will be able to see it. But maybe for me, it will be a little bit difficult to keep an eye on the chat all the time. So please, if you see somebody is asking questions, maybe they don't see the link, you can share this link with them. Okay, so in this workshop today, we are going to build a coding agent. And this is an example of a coding agent. So this is a tool called Lovable. We are not going to use it today, but we are going to build something that has kind of similar functionality. So with Lovable, you can, this is how it looks. So this is a tool. It's also a coding agent. And you can give it one prompt. So let's say you want to create a to-do list. That's the entire prompt you give, and then you click send. I already did it, so I just want to show you the result. So that was my prompt to-do list, and then it output some things like a plan of what exactly it wants to do. Then it edited some files, created two, I assume, yeah, so this is the app it created, and here it's usable. You can already add things like milk, eggs, to-do list. So this looks quite good, right? And this is what we are going to, something similar we're going to build today. But here, if we see the code, it is React. So I'm not a JavaScript developer. I know some JavaScript, but I'm a Python developer. So today we are going to do something similar, but with Python, and we are going to use a Django application for that. So we will create a Django website, and our agent will modify this Django website in order to do what we want. So the experience we want to have, of course, it will not be like Lovable, because Lovable is an established product. There is an entire team working non-stop on making it work. We'll build something that resembles it. So the applications that it produces might contain some errors, but at least we will understand how tools like Lovable are implemented, and this is the main goal. So we want to do something like that. Okay, so I'm going to close that, and I want to focus on this. So this is just for you to see. This is how the end result will look like. So we'll have here some sort of chat. We'll write to-do list. Then the agent will come up with a plan. Then we'll execute this plan, and then we'll have an app like that. So here I was lucky, it worked from the first attempt. Sometimes it does not work from the first attempt, so we will see. But the idea is to teach you, to show you how these things are done with AI. For that, the thing we will need today is OpenAI key. I don't know if you have, but I will show you how to get one. So you can put roughly $5. That should be enough for this session. We will probably spend less than 1 cent today, but I don't think it lets you put anything less than $5. Anyways, so this is how you get the key. So you go to the dashboard here, you can create a new project. So my project is workshop. You can just keep using default project. And then you go to API keys, and then you create a new key. You write the name here, and then I will not do it here because you will accidentally see my key that is generated, but you will see a screen here with the key. You copy this key, and you need to save this key somewhere because you will see it only once. So it will disappear from here forever. So you copy it, and then you save it somewhere. So in today's workshop, I'm going to use GitHub Codespaces. It's a very convenient environment because everyone can create their own GitHub Codespace, and everyone will have the same environment. There is Linux, there is Python already. So all the tools that we need are there. So, but you're free to use your own local environment if you want. Right. So all you need for this is actually we have it here. You need to have Python, and you have to have OpenAI key. That's what you need. Oh, also Git, but I assume you have Git already. Okay, and make it's a tool. It's optional. Anyways, Python is the main thing, and Codespaces have everything we need. So in order to create a Codespace, you create a new repository by clicking this. You create, and then after you created a repository, you click on this code button. But before that, wait, I actually wanted to show you that once we get the keys, you need to save it somewhere. So if you work locally, you put it in environment variables. If you want to work with Codespace, like I am going to do, you go to settings, you go to secrets and variables. And by the way, don't worry, the recording is going to be available after the class, yes. But also the repo that I shared contains all the instructions. So you can follow along me during today's workshop right now, because this document, this repo contains all the instructions. So I will follow along it, and you can follow along it too. Because for some things, coding them from scratch takes a lot of time. So I sometimes will be copy pasting things from there. Okay, so here, once you get the key, you go to secrets and variables, Codespaces. If you want to put your key in the Codespaces, you click new repository secret, and then it should be OpenAI key and your key. So I already have some keys here. I will also show how to use Anthropic and how to use a new thing called Z.AI. It's again optional. The only thing you really need for this workshop is OpenAI. You can also use alternative providers like Grok, like Mistral, like I don't know. There are many of them, so it will also work. Okay. So once we have secrets, once we put this OpenAI key, I'm going to create a new code space. For that, I click the code button. Here we have Codespaces tab, and I'm going to create, if you don't have any Codespaces, you will have a green button here. I do, so I'm just going to click plus here to create an empty namespace. And this will create an empty Linux environment that we can connect to remotely. So it's very convenient because yeah, everyone will have the same environment. It will take a bit of time. So I hope, because I prepared a lot of materials for today, and I don't want to, yeah, I want to optimize time. That's why sometimes I will copy paste things. Okay, yeah, let me open it in Visual Studio Code. You can continue working from the browser if this is what you want. I prefer having like a local kind of experience, even though the thing I'm connected to is still running remotely. Through my Visual Studio Code, I'm connected to this remote environment, and it feels like I'm running these things locally. So I suggest that you also install Visual Studio Code desktop and you work from the desktop environment. But yeah, I'll need to wait a bit till it connects. Yeah, takes a bit of time. Okay, in the meantime, I will close this. And let me see. So here I describe how to put the secrets. You know that. Yeah, for the next thing, we actually need to be able to access this. Okay, but I think it's done. So I am not going to use you can also
Alexei, it seems like you're frozen. I don't think we can hear you. Does everyone hear us, Alexei? Yeah, no
Yeah,
audio.
it's the same. You can't hear him.
Nope, can't hear him. Looks like he's frozen.
hello.
Nope, we can hear you now.
Okay, good. Where did you lose me? Hello?
To about a minute ago.
Okay, so because it was connecting to Codespaces from Visual Studio Code, so nothing has
Yeah,
significant
so
has happened.
that probably took some bandwidth from Zoom, I wonder.
Okay, let's see. Anyways, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm following along this link that I sent. So right now we need to install some libraries. So here I opened terminal. So I don't know if you saw how I did this. It's Ctrl tilde, or you go to View and open terminal. And I'm just going to paste this command. So here we are. I think I need to push, because I think this is Alt. So I actually, right before this workshop, I was working on. Oh, I think I just need to update it. I was, of course, working on this, making some last minute changes. Okay, yeah, so now it's better. So, okay, because there is one more library that I wanted to install. Cool. So we installed all the libraries. And right now, I will give you a quick introduction to agents. We will not we will build an agent using some OpenAI functionality, but we will use a library that makes it simpler. So we will not do low-level stuff. If you're interested in learning more about low-level stuff, there will be an extra, or no low level, but lower level, how to actually interact with these agents yourself without using libraries. We'll also talk about MCP, things like that. So there is a link that you will find. Yeah, so I will do a quick intro to that. So don't worry if you never used it. I hope it will still make sense. For that, I'm going to use to start Jupyter Notebook. So this is what we are going to use most of the time today. And right now, I started it on the remote environment, and it now Visual Studio Code notice that I'm running something. It should automatically forward the port. If it doesn't, maybe let me check. I hope, yeah, I'm running something on port 88. Because this is what is happening when I'm preparing for webinars last minute. Okay, so what I will do, because it did not automatically forward the port, I will just say that I want to forward port. What? Okay. One more attempt. Yeah, that kind of sucks because I actually wanted to um, be able to use this. Okay, what I will do is I will close it and I will try to connect it one more time. Open in Visual Studio Code. If it doesn't work, I'll try to do it from the browser. Sorry, I did not expect this to happen. In the worst case, I will just switch to my local environment and I will use Jupyter from there. But everything you do from Codespaces will work too. So yeah, I have a backup. But let's give it 1 minute to see if it works. If it doesn't, then I'll just use a backup plan. Yeah, I think I see that now it's working, but I don't know if what is actually happening right now because nothing is running. Yeah. Yes, the recording will be shared. Okay, I'm happy to see that it has worked for me. So, oops, there is a chat from Zoom that I'm struggling with. Okay, I'm creating a new notebook. I'll just name it untitled. and I will start working through these things, right? So first of all, we need to import OpenAI client. And if everything is configured correctly, when you execute this line, it should just work, right? So it means that we have configured the API key correctly. So if it throws an exception saying, hey, I cannot find the API key, then you need to set the environmental variable OpenAI API key. But I showed you at the beginning how to do this with Codespaces, so it should be working. Okay, so this is working, and the first thing I want to talk about before we actually implement the coding agent, what is the difference between a chat application and an agent? So you know ChatGPT. ChatGPT is actually an agent because it has extra functionality. But extra functionality like creating images, performing web search. So this is all agentic functionality. But plain chatbot just uses LLM to answer my questions. And here I have an example. So imagine that, so this is my interaction with a chatbot. So here we have, we tell the chatbot what we expect from it, the system. We say, okay, you are a chatbot that can make funny and original jokes. So this is what we call system prompt. ChatGPT also has a system prompt, but we don't see this. So when we write something, tell me a joke, there is already a system prompt, but what we give it is actually a user prompt. Right? So here, this is how we define it. So user prompt or user message. So there is, we tell the system what we expect, what kind of behavior we expect from the system. And then this is what I write. So here I wrote, tell me a joke. But here I write, tell me a joke about Lexi, right? And then we send a call to OpenAI. So this is how we send the call. They send these chat messages, and we get back the response, something similar to this, right? Let's see why did Alexei bring a ladder to the bar? Yeah, very funny. But we can add extra functionality. So we can make this usual chatbot agentic by providing this agent with tools. So the difference between an agent and the usual chatbot, that agent can have access to different tools. In practice, it means usually just a function, Python function that we have somewhere that the agent can decide to invoke. So I will show you how it looks like. So let's say we have a special function for making jokes, right? So this is how this function looks like, right? So it just randomly selects one of the jokes and it requires a name as a parameter, right? So why did Lexi bring a pencil to the party? So this is a joke and we want our assistant, instead of generating the joke itself, rely on this function. And this function can actually be anything. Like if we abstract away a little from making jokes, it can be a function for booking, I don't know, creating an event in your calendar or booking a train or doing whatever, right? So any arbitrary function, but we need to, in order to tell LLM that we have this function, we need to have a description of this function. So we need to follow a certain schema. And then we say, okay, yeah, we have a function that is called name joke, that this is the description of this function. Yeah, so these are the parameters of this function, and yeah, so this is the description of these parameters, right? So this is what we put to OpenAI, to our LLM, and we do it by specifying tools here, and we say, okay, these are the tools that are available to you. So here is a request from the user, and here are the tools you have. If you think that you can fulfill the request from the user using one of the tools, the model will decide to do this. So let's see how it actually looks in practice. So we send the request, and now in the response, I will see output. I don't know somehow it is slow. How do you launch Jupyter Notebook from Visual Studio Code? I will show you. So what I did is I showed, I wrote Jupyter Notebook in the terminal here. right? Jupyter Notebook, and then there was a port forwarding here. So this is how I did this. So I'm creating an agent. So MCP, this is something we'll talk about in the future workshop. Right now, we're just talking about agents. Why is it taking forever? I don't know. Something is wrong with the internet today. Okay. So now we sent a request. It's the same request as we sent previously, but right now instead of outputting the joke right away, it says, "Hey, actually, I want to invoke a function. This function is called make joke, and these are the arguments for this function." Right? So right now we say we get this output, and what we can do is we can invoke this function. Because LLM has decided this, we invoke this function and we give the results back to the LLM. And the LLM sees the results, it parses them, it understands them, and then it outputs back the final result. So implementing this is kind of technical. This is something we will do on the next webinar. Right now, I want to show you a tool that helps us do that. So this tool is called ToyAIKit. So we have installed it. And it just makes, this is something I wrote in different workshops and webinars I was doing. We will do this together, but it just makes things interacting with agents simpler. So we don't need to write a lot of code for that, because there is a lot of code that needs to be written. And to answer the question why Jupyter, because it is an interactive environment, it's very easy to work there, right? So you just put a piece of code, you execute it. If something doesn't work, you change, you execute. So it really helps. And then, so this is how you do this. So first you have a list of, so this is how you do it with ToyAIKit. So first of all, you define the tools you have. So by creating this tools object and you add a tool. It can also automatically infer, create this description from a name, but right now we have the description, so we just include it. And yeah, so this is how we define the rest of the things that it needs. So we define the interface where the chat is running. In our case, it is running in Jupyter using Python widgets. Then we have OpenAI client. And then we create this runner that is using these tools. Our system prompt is this one. You can make funny and original jokes. Chat interface, this thing, and OpenAI client is this thing. Right. And here we can also specify what kind of model we want to use. So in our case, it's GPT-4o mini. Right. So if we want to have a different model, we'll just use it. So let me run runner. Here, tell me a joke about, or maybe let's tell me a joke. Okay. Tell me a personalized joke. My name is Alexei. So now you see it invoked the function. So this is the arguments it used, and this is the output of this function, right? So we can see, so this is what ToyAIKit gives us. It's just a nice way to interact with this. Otherwise, it's just a simple wrapper. We will rely on it because it makes our lives easier. And I actually encourage you to check the code. Let me actually share it with you. ToyAIKit. It's you can share to see, you can take a look at the code to see how is it actually implemented. Okay. Anyways, so this is a quick intro to agents. I see that I already spent half an hour talking about that, so let's speed up a little. The next thing is like you saw in Lovable. So Lovable, what Lovable does inside in order to create a project, it already has some predefined template. The predefined template is, there is some React application with some libraries. So it doesn't need to start from scratch. It starts from this template, and by modifying it, the template, you make the job of an agent simpler, right? Because It just needs to change a bunch of files in order to have working results rather than starting from scratch. So here we want to do the same, and for that I chose Django, but instead of Django it could be Flask, it could be Fast API, it could be any framework, right? Okay, so I don't want to spend time on creating the template here. There are some instructions here in this workshop. If you want to do this, you can follow through these instructions. But what I did is I just followed these instructions. I put the result into a Git repo. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to clone this repository. So we don't need to start from scratch. So now I have Django template here. For dependency management, I use UV. So for that, I'll just write UV sync. Question is if you experimented with any open source LLMs. I did not. I experimented with Anthropic. I experimented with Z.AI. I don't know actually if Z.AI is open source. Maybe it's open source. But what I show you today, not everything, but some will work with open source LLMs. And there is a provider called Grok. I just wrote it in chat. So some advanced models from Grok can do this, but you will need to use chat completions API. So let me tell you, let me show you. So here, the API we use is called Responses API. So this is a newer API. So this is what, no, I spelled Grok correctly. It's not Grok from Twitter. So Grok with Q at the end is a service for serving open source LLMs. Anyway, so what we use here is Responses API. And it says my internet connection is unstable. I hope you hear and see me well. So, but there is many open source LLMs. They use chat completions API. So I will show you how to use that later at the end. But for now, what I show works with OpenAI. But we'll see how to do it with other systems too. Anyways, I think it installed Django. So the next step I need to do is I have makefile make here. So this is why I have makefile. That's why I need make. So instead of typing this thing, I just type make migrate. Right. So then it executes this command. Then the next thing I need to do is make run. So now it runs the application. It detects that there is a port that is running. And this is our basic application. So the question I see, what are the prerequisites for understanding what you're doing right now? Basic Python programming. Yes, and just being able to follow along this code. So you just need to copy paste and see what's happening. Some details are hidden. So going from here, when we just sent a request to OpenAI, to building this application is something we will talk later in the next workshop, and you'll find the link in that workshop here in this one. But yeah, basic Python programming is, yes, we are building agents like Lovable, exactly. Okay. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. So this is going to be, I'm going to close this. This is what we're going to use as a template. Stop it. Okay, we have the template. And next, we actually, let me scroll down. We can actually start creating the code for our agent. The first step we need to do is we have our template, right? And we can copy it. So I can do this cp -r Django template, and let's say we do to-do list. I can do it this way, just doing this through the terminal, but I can also use this function, right? So this is the function I can use for starting applications. So for example, I can say project name and then start. Let's say we do to do two. Yeah, right. It doesn't take any arguments. I think it will ask me to do two, right? So now it says Django template copy to do two directory. So this is simple. The question is why the template, why it's needed? Because in case of Lovable, it bases its code on the template, predefined template. With it, the chances that the code LLM creates works is higher because the template is already working. We know all the dependencies there. We know the structure, and we tell LLM about this structure. So instead of starting from scratch, LLM starts from something that is already working. So this is better. So this is the concept that Lovable uses, and that's why we follow a similar one. That's why we need a template. Okay, so we copied the template to a folder to do two, right? And we need to now to define some functions. So what Lovable is doing, it can read files, it can write to files, it can also see the file trees, it can grep, look for files. So grep is a command from Linux. So basically you go through, it's like you have a bunch of files and you want to find something from these files and you want to execute a bash command. So what I did is I just described all of that. So I want to build a coding agent, and for that I need a bunch of Python functions, right? And then what I just told you, read from a text file, write to a text file, see the file tree, and grep, execute bash, right? Yeah, so we can do something, make the code simple. So this is what I did. So I made a request like that. So then it will create a bunch of functions and we can iterate on these functions. So it will create them. Okay, so now it will write these functions. We don't actually, because I already have the code, so we will save a bit of time. It's kind of complicated. I'm not a big fan of new ChatGPT 5 because I think GPT-5 tends to make things more complicated than GPT-4. Yeah, like it's just so much code. The next thing I asked it to please put all these functions into a class that takes in the working directory. So now there is a working directory and all these functions. Oh, actually, I like how minimalistic this one is. So everything is happening inside the provided directory. For us, the directory we are interested in is the template where we copied. So we created this to do two, which is a copy of Django template, and we want to perform all the operations like reading from file, writing to file, and so on. So I already have the code. So that's why I don't want to spend time, because here with this one, I will need to copy the code, test it, reiterate, because it might not be working from the first attempt. So this is how I usually do this, these things. Yeah, just to save some time, you have some ideas how I created the file. Right now, I'm just going ahead, copy this file and put it here. I'll call it tools.py. And I will copy this code here. So this, what it can do is what we described. So there is a read file, write file, see file tree, execute a bash command, and searching files, so grep. So these are the functions we will give to our agents. So our agent, when we give it a request, hey, we want to work on this project. We want to create a Django project, and here's like a directory where they work, and these are the tools that you can use in order to achieve what I asked, right? So these are the tools, and right now we can just import them. So from tools, import, how do we call them? agent tools. Not a very creative name. Should we change it? Yeah, let's keep it like that. Or I'll just import tools. I'll call it agent, coding agent tools, agent tools. Of course, I forgot about the directory. And these are the things that it can do. Like, for example, we have C file 3. Right. From path lib, import path. So it takes a path here. Okay, so these are the files we have. And let's say if we want to read a file, this one. Read file, this one. Then it gives the content of this file. So LLM will be able to use that in order to do what we ask. Let me quickly check the chat. Do you have a GitHub link where the code is? Yeah, thank you, Rosanna. Okay, so these are the tools. Now we define the tools that we want our coding agent to use. And now we can put everything together. So remember this thing we had. So I will just put everything in one cell, so it's easier for me to copy. So first of all, we have this tools object, right? So this is what we need to define. So we need to take these tools from this class and put it in these tools. There's so many tools. I need to think about better naming convention. So this tools class from ToyAIKit, what it can do is can go through all the methods of this class, agent tools, and see, okay, there is a method called read file, write file, C file 3, execute bash command. It can go through them, and it can automatically create the schema that we need to pass to OpenAI. And it also uses the docstring for that. So when I execute this, I can now do get tools, and I see all these tools in the format that OpenAI expects, right? So when we do that, OpenAI will know, the models from OpenAI will know that these are the tools that are available for the agent, right? The rest, what else we need? So we also need the developer prompt. Dev prompt. I'll just make it capital. So what I did is I started, when it comes to developer prompt, I started with something simple, right? So you're a coding agent, your task is to modify the provided Django project template according to the user instructions. So this is enough to get started, but this is not the entire story. So what I did is I iterated over the prompt a little bit, and this is what you will also need to do, because this prompt will not work. So you will need the more accurate, the more detailed the system prompt you give to the agent, the better, because the more detailed it is. So these LLMs, they are very good at following instructions. So your instructions need to be precise and complete. The more complete, the better, in order for it to follow them, right? And this is the final prompt I came up with. It's huge, and this is not the best one. I could have spent a lot more time. So most of the time when you work with agents, most of the time you spend is actually put into writing this prompt, right? Because this is, you want to, it really makes the difference when it comes to agent. The more detailed the prompt is, the better. Can you please not write on the screen? I don't know how to disable annotations. How can I remove it? Yeah, please don't write on the screen. Let me quickly check if there are questions. After the session, could you please guide and recommend a course on developing production-ready agents? Yeah, so of course, at the end of this, this is a course I'm working on. At the end, I'll tell you more about this. How are you securing the agents from unintended access, like injections? This is not something we will talk about here, but there are things called guardrails. This is something we will talk in the course about, not right now. Okay, so this is the prompt. This is where I stopped. let's take a look at the prompt. So this is what I wrote. You're a coding agent. Your task is to modify the provided Django project template according to the user instructions. You don't tell what the user to do. You do it yourself using the available tools. First, so here we tell the agent, okay, here are your instructions. Then we ask it to think. So this is very important. So if we ask the LLM to think, it first will come up with a plan and then it will execute it. Right? If we don't do this, then the results tend to be poorer, less good. So if we explicitly tell it, hey, first plan your actions and then execute them, then our agent becomes better. And then always ensure changes are consistent with Django best practices, blah, blah. And then I already tell it what kind of files are there, so it knows. Some description of the files, and I say that you can do whatever you want with these files, and then extra instructions. So these instructions I added as I was experimenting with agent. I didn't like some results, so I was adding things to these additional instructions. Like for example, yeah, make sure you use tailwind CSS for styles, right? Or don't execute run projects, because it once tried to execute run project and then the project hung. I had to restart Jupyter Notebook, so it wasn't fun. Okay, so this is the system prompt. And this is, again, in my opinion, the most important part of developing an agent is nailing down, really taking some time to work on this prompt. And ChatGPT is really helpful. So what you can do, like we did here, what you can do is you can say, okay, I am working on a prompt. This is the goal of my agent. And let me actually check if I, yeah, this is something I did. So for example, I was experimenting with ChatGPT. And this is what the instructions I gave. You're a coding agent, then modifies existing Django. Let me copy it so we can see this better. Word wrap. And this what it wrote. So your job, rules, read before writing. So it's really good. So this is something we don't need. So if you use ChatGPT for creating a prompt, usually we give the list of tools in our request. Okay. So as I said, this is one of the most important things. Once you have the prompt, we can actually execute this. So now let me do this runner.run. So now if everything works, to list. So we created a copy just to summarize what we have done so far. We created a Django template. We created a copy of this Django template, and now we want to use this agent to create code to modify the Django template according to our instructions. So the instructions are, all I give is just a to-do list. And now we see that because we asked it to think, so it thought that these are the steps it will take. And now it's starting to execute the steps. So I'll create the to-do model in models. So now we can see that it's reading, it's checking what is already there in the models. So first it checks the files before writing to it. So now it puts some content there. So while it's doing this, let me check the questions. Will the course also include data masking? I believe data masking and guardrailing is standard. So we will do guardrailing, data masking. This is not something I was thinking about, but as we go through the course, we can also adjust the content. Where the recording will be available, it will be shared through Maven. Yes, and you will be able to get the video through the repo, I think. But Maven will. I will talk about the course at the end. Okay, it's also in this repo, coding agent at the beginning and at the end. Right now, what I want to do is it finished modifying the code. So right now, let's see if this is actually working. So it might be working, might be not. Let's see. To do 2, I think it was 2, and I do make run. So now I go to localhost 800, and it says patient found. So probably there are some instructions. Does it not say what we need to do? Okay. So probably it is. It needs to. We need to go to. Yeah, I can see it here. To dos. So this is where we need to go. Cool. Yeah, happy it is working. Title. I think it forgot to include the styles because the styles kind of look strange. So let me see. Yeah. So it broke the URL. Well, okay. Like for the first attempt, it's okay. Milk. Because this is, remember, we're using ChatGPT. We're using GPT-4o Mini. This is a very small, cheap, fast model, and also less. How to say? It's dumber than other models. Sometimes even if we explicitly say, "Hey," I think this is what. Keep the original URL for Tailwind CSS. It might accidentally not do this because this is just okay. So we complete. We have milk, but I think actually does it actually work? Yeah, it does. Like I was wrong. Like it keeps the styles, but what I'm interested in why like this is like that. Okay, X. But this is something we can actually try to do now. To do list. So let's quickly check if deleting works. It also doesn't seem to work, so we can just say it. Make the forms more beautiful, and delete doesn't work. Let's see. So now, yeah, it is saying that it did some things. So yeah, let's just go and check. I have so many Zoom things. So first of all, check if delete is working. Yeah, delete is working, and when we add, yeah, the adding forms for adding. I will not do this right now. So because we have so much content to cover. So this is how you do this, right? So it's kind of working. It's not ideal, right? Because I don't see these forms, but it's okay. So right now I want to make a short break. I'll come like after 3 minutes, and after that time, so I'll just give you a quick recap what we did, and then we'll have a short break. So what we did is first we talked about agents, and we said that agents are chatbots with the ability to invoke functions, and functions could be any arbitrary functions. So here was a function about making joke, and then here is the description of that function. And we just send it to our LLM saying, hey, this is the function, it's available for you to use. You can use it when you want, when you decide it's needed, right? And then at some point we saw that it decided to use the function. Then we created a Django template, and we created a copy of this template to do too. And also we created a list of tools, a list of functions for this agent, for the coding agent, which is reading the files, writing files, and so on, right? And we put everything together with this big prompt, again using the same code as from before. And we saw that it did a little bit of planning. Then it read from the files, it wrote to the files. There was a bit of an issue, and then we asked it to fix it. So this is what we did so far. And after the break, we will look. So right now we use this ToyAIKit. This is not a production-ready library. It's good for education, but in production you use other libraries, and we will talk about these libraries. So give me 3 minutes, and then we will continue. Yeah, I will also put the recording on. Wait, how do we do this? Yes. Because we can take this time for, I can take this time for answering 1 or 2 questions, and then we continue.
You
Do
want
you use
questions with
ChatGPT?
open mic? Oop, sorry.
Yeah, better. Maybe it's better if you just put the questions in chat. Do you use ChatGPT Codex to create any of these functions? I've run into Codex related code issues. I do not use Codex. I often use just plain ChatGPT, and I also use where is it? Cursor. So this is what I was using for, in particular, for preparing this function. So the first version was written by ChatGPT, and then I edited it with Cursor. So yeah, this is what I use for coding. Codex I never used. Yeah, let's continue. So we saw how to use ToyAIKit for running some things. So I still suggest to check the code for this ToyAIKit. So this is where it's actually the right thing right now showing. So this is this OpenAI responses runner. So this is what it is doing inside. So it is it could be fairly complicated if you just look at this, but what you can do is you can just take this class, put this to ChatGPT, and ask it to explain what's happening. Because there are 2 loops here, and it might be a bit confusing, like, hey, why do we have these 2 loops? So ask ChatGPT, and it will tell you what is actually happening here. Okay, I see a question from William. What is the difference between tools you use in an agent and tools you use in an MCP? So we will talk about MCP in the next workshop. In short, functions that we use right now, they are local functions. So they live in the same process. MCP allows you to have, it's like microservices, but for function calling. So you have your agent and you have some microservice, and then MCP defines a protocol how they can talk to each other. Yeah, but at the end, it's just, can you print a function? Yeah, you can do a print from a function. Okay, let's continue. So I think what I need is this thing, right? So we created the simplest agent. It was kind of working. Let's create a, let's use a more advanced library. So OpenAI Agents SDK is one of those. So we'll look at this OpenAI Agents SDK, and we'll also look at PydanticAI. So we'll need to install it. Wrong window. So let me stop this one. Yeah, so this provides like some implementation. You can go through the documents. That there is a lot of things. You were asking about guardrails. You were asking about MCP. So this REPL utility is something convenient when you do some testing. We will just do the simplest agent. So something like this. So we had a simplest agent here before. This one, right? We will now turn this what we did with plain OpenAI API into this Agents SDK. OpenAI Agents SDK. But it's a really powerful library. So let's use it. Right. So there are some things we need to do. So we just do from agents import agent. So this is the main abstraction agent that we have there. And I'm going to close this and this one too. And then another thing is function tool. So here, this is how we define functions, these tools with this framework, is we add an annotation on makejob, right? And you notice that I have here a docstring, I have here type hints. So this is really important because what it's doing inside internally is something to what something similar to what ToyAIKit is doing. So it tries to build this schema, function description schema from the function, right? because we don't want to do this manually. We just want to explain what this function is doing and then let LLM figure this out. An alternative way, if let's say this function is, you don't have access to this function, you cannot edit the code from this function, and this is actually our case because our function lives inside tools, we cannot really modify it. What we do is we just invoke it like that, function tools, and then the name of the function, and then it creates a tool called make joke tool. And now we can pass this tool, among other tools that we need, to the agent. And this is how we create an agent. Right, so this is very similar to what we did. So we create an agent, we say that this is a joking agent. So this is the prompt. You can make funny and original jokes. So then this is the tool we use, and the model is GPT-4o mini. Now we need to run this agent. I think there is, we need to import this. There is some boilerplate code to actually run it. Again, I put this code in the library, in this ToyAIKit, and we have this OpenAI Agents SDK runner. So you can go through this code too to see what is actually doing. So there is again a loop here. So it allows us to have this interface where we can interact with the agent. So let me just copy this. So here we don't need tools, we don't need anything. So what we do is just use the interface that we used previously. And there is this runner that I just showed you. It's looping through, like it's giving us this kind of chat feeling, right? So we have this runner. And because these agents in the SDK, in the Agents SDK, they are asynchronous, we need to add this await statement. And tell me a joke. So now I hopefully it asks my name, and then it will invoke a function. Okay, so this is how it works. For the actual chat interface, I use, again, ToyAIKit, but internally all the function calling and whatnot, this is all done by the library. So this is a more powerful library, and we just use this thing for the interface, right? So now let's, I see that there are some questions. I'll quickly check them and we will continue. Can somebody please outline the learning path from the beginner, intermediate, expert in generative AI and the agentic AI? Yeah, I think this is not something I can easily answer. Right, so we will just continue. Okay, but at the end we will talk about the course, and this will bring you to not to an expert, but it will bring you somewhere, so you will be able to create applications. Okay, so this joking agent is not particularly useful. So let's actually implement our coding agent again. So what we will need to do, again, I will create, so right now I don't want to invoke that function, so I will just create a copy of the project cp -r Django template. Let's call it to do agent. Well, agent is because it's Agents SDK, right? So this will be the folder, the template. So we could have used this function, but I just need to scroll up, kind of feel lazy. So right now this is the same tools we had previously. Right now is just for the different folder, right? And here I showed you how we do what we do with the tools that live outside of our that we cannot simply annotate like that, right? So which means that we need to go through all the methods, like execute bash command. So execute bash command. So this is a method. We turn it into a functional tool like that, and we do it for all the methods of this function. So I did it here. So that's one way. If you have I don't know, 2, 3, it's okay. But what if you need to go through like, I don't know, 5, 6? It becomes boring. So then there is a helper utility that I use. It's doing the same thing, but it automatically goes through all the methods of an object and wraps them with function tools. So at the end, the result that we will have is the same. So all these methods from agent tools as functions. So now we can take what? This coding agent. It's actually a joking agent, not a coding agent. Joke agent. But we will now take a coding agent. We'll probably have a piece of code here for that. Yeah, right. And then very similar to what we did do here, right? So here we provide instructions, here we provide tools, and we say that the model is this one. Except the tools this time is all the methods from these agents tools. Okay, our developer prompt is still the same. So we define the agent, and now let's run this thing. Let me copy it. Let me do something like this. Okay, so we have a runner, interface is still the same, we have the coding agent, let's run it. To-do list. Okay, so what agent AI, OpenAI Agents SDK is doing, it's, so when we were doing it here, so we could see the progress, we could see that, okay, LLM made a request to perform a function call. We do this, then it made it again, and then here's the final answer. So right now, this is not visible right now. So this is internal to Agents SDK. And here I'm not using streaming, and that's why we only see like now a lot of things at the same time. So it was doing this, but it wasn't visible for us, but it's not that important. We see that now it made the first step, the first iteration. And yeah, that's the plan it came up with. Then it executed a bunch of functions. Then write to file, read file, write file. Okay, and now it says this is what it's done. You can run development server and check the functionality. Okay, let's do that. So to do agent make run. Localhost. Again, it was created with GPT-4o mini, so I'm not expecting anything spectacular, but it seems it's working. Can we actually remove it? I don't think it added any functionality for removing. Yeah, so now we can ask it add functionality for removing complete items. But you got the point, right? So right now it will do this. It hopefully will work. It might not. We will see. But I think we should just, yeah, I'm kind of curious. But for the sake of time, I will start talking about the next thing. So the next thing I want to talk about. Okay, while I was talking, it finished. Let's see. Did it actually do anything? Included the remove button next to each completed to-do item. But I don't see it. Okay, yeah, I will not do it. Probably will require one or more iterations to actually make it work. Because what I want to show you now is another tool, another agents tool called PydanticAI. And with PydanticAI, we are not restricted to OpenAI models. We can use other models, including Anthropic. And then we will see how to actually use Anthropic Claude Sonnet to create this. And Anthropic Claude Sonnet is better at coding than GPT. Well, I think many models are better at coding than GPT-4o mini, because 4o mini is kind of, yeah. And it's cheap and fast, but not the best developer. Okay, so it's another library that I will now install. Pydantic, yes, that's correct. So Pydantic is a library for validation, and they have a library also called pip install PydanticAI. So it's under Pydantic repository. But yeah, you can actually check it. PydanticAI. So this is a Python agent framework designed to make it less painful to build production-grade applications. I quite like it. It's really cool. Also, like you can see, there are many different things there. So it's pretty rich in terms of functionality. Am I still visible? Can you hear me? Because I think Zoom decided to. I no longer have Zoom controls, so I don't know if I'm actually still live. Okay, they're back. Cool. Yeah, I will close this, and we'll close that too. So coming back to Pydantic, I already installed it. Or wait, yeah, I already installed it. So with Pydantic, it's similar. We import agent and then we define agents. You can see from the documentation that with Pydantic, you can also have annotations similar to SDK. I will need to create a new project. So let me do this. So I'll call it to do Pydantic. CPR Django template to do Pydantic. So the way we define tools is we don't need any annotation like here. So we don't need to do anything like that. So what we can do is just provide the functions in the list directly. So this will be a list like that. Right? So it will be methods from this agents tool. Again, I implemented a helper function that can just scan through all the methods of a class, of an instance of a class. Yeah, that's the same thing. So it just goes through all the public methods and puts them in a list. Yeah, we don't need any annotation here. This is convenient. And so these are our tools. And we define our agent. So this is pretty simple. And you see I say OpenAI GPT-4o mini. So here instead of OpenAI, I can write something else. Then instructions are, this is the developer prompt we have, and tools is this list. Well, not this one, but these are the same. So the same files we have previously, right? And here we, again, I will use ToyAIKit for running this, but you can see this Pydantic runner, what is actually happening inside, right? So how exactly I run this, because this is pretty useful. So for you, when you're at work, you work with these agents, you probably will not use ToyAIKit, or maybe you will use only for experimenting because, yeah, I don't know. Most likely you will not use it in production. It's not intended for production. It's only for education. So you will need to implement something like this, a loop like that yourself. Right? So it's I would suggest you to actually go through at least this PydanticAI runner and this OpenAI Agents SDK runner to see how you actually interact with these libraries. Because right now I simply delegated to the library, to this ToyAIKit, because writing this code here right now would be, it would just take too much time, right? Don't want to spend this time. So we already have this chat interface, so I will just have the runner. So it's PydanticAI runner, chat interface, and then we link this calling agent. And I just, again, it's also asynchronous, so we need to include a wait. So I see my Claude Pydantic. I've only used it to define types and response classes. So this is the main Pydantic project, but they also have like satellite projects. PydanticAI is one of them. Of course, it relies on Pydantic on typing, but this is they are kind of loosely related. So they are under the same umbrella of projects. So they are done by the Pydantic team, but they are not strictly related, I would say. So let's see what it did. So it came up with a plan, then run this thing. Okay, so it executed some things. How to access? Okay, let's actually try this to do Pydantic make run. Where did it go? I didn't want to. So this is our to-do list. Set milk X. Yeah, for some reasons it's not visible. To-do list. So probably I will need to say, hey, items are not visible. Can you please do something about this? Okay, I will not do it right now because what I want to do instead is actually try to use Anthropic. So let me do what. So what I will do now is I will say to do Claude. And this, let me simplify it a little. So put the imports here. Yeah, this. And now I will, instead of writing OpenAI GPT-4o mini, now I will write Claude 3.5 Sonnet. So now we will. I have the Claude API key here. So if you don't, this is very similar to getting the API key from OpenAI. You will also need to put some money there. But yeah, let's see how different it is. To-do list. I hope, at least in my experiments, when it comes to GPT-4o mini, the code wasn't always working from the first attempt. With Claude, it was better. So let's see. And yeah, so I like PydanticAI because it makes it really simple to switch between different providers. But also, like, if you ask, maybe some of you may wonder, like, okay, I want to use it for my application. What is better, OpenAI SDK or Pydantic? You have to decide yourself. So you can check what kind of features are there, whether you want to use like non-OpenAI models, because I think OpenAI SDK is quite feature-rich too. Where do you put Claude API key? Like in the same way as I did with OpenAI key. So I see a question. Can you ask it to do make run and check it yourself without having to open the browser? Technically, yes. But what happens with Jupyter here is when it runs a thing like that, Jupyter hangs, so it doesn't stop. So you need to have a smarter way of dealing with commands that, like when it runs and runs something in the background, so then it can continue executing. So here it simply waits. I will not go into details, but technically, yes, you can. But with this implementation, it's rather complex. So these are all the tricky nuances that that are important when you actually want to build something like Lovable, right? So what we're creating is something that remotely resembles Lovable, but it's by no means a proper replacement, of course. So there are so many corner cases that we need to think about to actually call it, I don't know, Lovable clone. To do Claude make run. But it, at least we're getting somewhere. Okay, let's see. Okay, so this is what Lovable, this is what Claude created. Milk. I like the interface. X. Agents workshop. So I still need to buy extra milk. I really like how it looks like. Like it looks really good. So you see the difference, right? So here it actually produced something that works. The interface, I find it better, to be honest. My emojis are kind of strange, but this is just Windows, right? I think it's really good. Do you have some ideas what else we can try? Like what kind of other application? Will the developer prompt remain the same for other models? So in this case, I use the same developer prompt. Sometimes you might need to adjust to different models, but in our case, it's fine. Anki cards projects. Okay, let's try. There is still another thing I want to do, but first let's try Anki cards. And after that, Django template Anki. Anki. So we'll just need to execute this thing. Anki cards project. Let's see. Yeah, so let's see what it's doing. There is one more thing I want to show you. So there is this called Z.AI. I came across it last week or the week before. So this is like a new, yet another LLM provider. There are so many of them. But I was playing with this and I noticed that the app it created, so this digital bubble wrap, it's kind of nice, right? I like the design. I thought, what if I try this for the same workshop? So I already had the materials for the workshop, but I thought, what if I try it? So I did try and I liked the results. This GLM 4.5 seems really good. So this is something I want to show you at the end right now. When it finishes Anki cards. Well, unfortunately, we don't really have visibility. As I said, this ToyAIKit is kind of limited. Can you make it a stream? Yes, you can. I did not. So right now it's not streaming. You can make it a stream. Yes, definitely. It's just when you're not doing it a stream is simpler for education. But when you do it for real use cases, when it's actually a chat application, then you have to make it a stream, of course. Okay, it's taking time. I don't know, is it doing anything? Yeah, so we can actually see what it is doing. And we create an agent for automating document creation in a given process in engineering industry, store them in a different location and send them to user due date. Yeah, of course. Like it seems like what agents will be good at. Okay, so it will finish eventually. It kind of sucks that we don't have any visibility into that. I will start doing this Z.AI thing. Or at some point, we will need to switch to streaming. Yeah. Okay, so let me do this. So Z.AI, so this is the thing. I already put some money here. I already got a key. And right now I cannot show with streaming. So this is something I should do at some point. But yeah, right now I don't have the materials ready for that. So most of the providers, including this Z.AI that I will be presenting here, but the rest are too. I'm not sure about Anthropic. I think they too. But most LLM providers, like Grok, for example, that I mentioned earlier, they follow API, OpenAI API. It means that if we just take the OpenAI client and we say that this is the base URL. So by default, the base URL is api.openai.com or something like that. I don't remember. But it will say now the base API is different. The base URL is different. So now instead of going to OpenAI, it will go to this Z.AI, right? So this is how you typically, of course, they provide their own client, but since they follow the same interface, we might as well use it. Right. So yeah, so this is how we do it, but let's check what it did. So because it has been working for some time, so probably it's a more complex project than the to-do list. So it was doing creating templates, admin interface, styling, migrations, and this is the results. So let's check. I'll write here stop. So if it doesn't work completely, then it doesn't work. So we'll not spend time on that. But ideally, yeah, you just give it another iteration and say, okay, hey, this thing doesn't work. Made with love for learning. It's really amazing. Sorry, but it's really cool. Deck name. Why this is so strange? Maybe it's the problem with my browser because this is the second thing. ML or AI concepts. Blah. Read. Add cards. Okay. Yeah, so now we have a problem. This doesn't work. But then what I would do now is I would just put this to the prompt and say, hey, like there is a problem because I think it's forgot to add something to URL or something like that. Yeah, but it's really cool. I really like the design. And yeah, we must admit that this is actually more difficult thing than a to-do list, right? And I love all these little icons it used. Okay, so let me stop this. And I want to just do quickly a demo. CP R Django template. Let's do another to-do list, but with Z.AI. Okay, so with Z.AI, as I said, we just, because it follows the same API as OpenAI, we can just use everything we did so far before. However, there is a slight difference. So before we used where it is, we used this responses API. It cannot use this responses API. It follows the old chat.completions API. So that's why we need to adjust the code a little. Again, we have a bunch of code that we can use for that. So there are some small changes, but overall it's very similar. I think we need these things. So we just need a different runner. Let's say OpenAI chat completions runner and OpenAI chat completions client, because the requests that we are making, they are going to be different. So agent tools in our case will be, how did I call it? To do Z.AI. Now I will do import. And you see, so here, first of all, I use the API key, then base URL, and now I say the model should be this one. The client is this one, Z.AI client. So this is the client. So instead of providing an empty OpenAI client, we provide this one. So let me just split it a bit. So developer prompt, it was all caps, right? And now let's run it. To do app. So in my experiments, this thing was taking a little more time. It is a reasoning model. So you see, like, I just gave it to do app. The user wants me to create a to do app. So then here are the things it needs to do. So I like the model. So then what it is doing. Yeah, but it takes some time. So while it's doing that, So let me check if there are questions. So Logan needs to drop earlier. Okay, yeah. Let's connect. Please send me connection request. When you send me a connection request on LinkedIn, please add a note saying that how you found me, because I'm getting so many connection requests. It's just very difficult. Can we get this Jupyter notebook? Okay, you can. I will commit it. But actually, you don't need this because you just follow these instructions. Again, let me send this link. You just follow these instructions and you have everything. So you don't actually need this Jupyter notebook. But I see no reasons why not. I think if I just, can I just download it? Yeah, I'll put it to this URL. I'll call it Maven Workshop something. Okay. So it's still doing things. So while it's doing this, so what I wanted to talk at the end is the course that you've been asking me about. So this is the course. I'm going to share the link with you. And you will also, because I am doing this webinar from Maven, you will also get a link to this course. So in this course, what you saw was just one of the module, build your own agent, but we are exploring a lot more things. So we're starting from simple LM applications. We are talking about retrieval augmented generation. So this is the most useful application of LLMs. We will also talk about testing these LLM applications. We'll talk about agentic flow, and I think I actually changed these two. So first we talk about agents, then we talk about testing. Then this one we already covered. And then we also talk about safety guardrails, monitoring, so actually making it production ready. And then at the end, there will be a capstone. So I shared the link. You will also receive the link with a discount soon. Yeah, so check it out. I'm really curious to see the results. So this model here, it's taking a lot of time. There is no Discord. If you want to connect to me, so you can do this through LinkedIn, but also through datatalks.club. So in Data Talks Club, I just shared the URL. There is a form. Oops. So you can put your email address. You will receive an invite to join Slack, and then you can connect me with me in Slack. Okay. Why it's taking so long? Yeah, but you see, this model is thorough. Also, I was experimenting with this model today, and it was slow. I think it's just not. Maybe it's not ready for all the requests it's receiving. So yeah, it timed out. That's pity. Yeah, I think they have some internal problems today. What I can do is just do it again, because it already started running something, so it can check, okay, like what are the things I already changed, so it will be able to see these things and now just continue from where it left. What do you do to fix that? What are you talking about, Mike? Like if the timeout error I had right now? Yeah, so in practice, you would probably have multiple providers. If one is timing out, you switch to another. So I think this would be the most reasonable thing to do, because this is something outside of our control, but there are also so many LLM providers, right? If one is timing out, you just go to a different one. Yeah, so this is what I would do. So I'm pretty sure here the problem is not our code, but it's the servers from Z.AI, because I had this problem today throughout the day. So I think it's reading the files now to understand. Yeah, it will take some time because it's slow today. I don't know if it makes sense to continue to wait. I just wanted to show you that Yeah, kind of pity because I really like the results from this model. So maybe right now you probably have some questions. So if you have some questions, shoot, I can answer these questions. If you don't have questions, then we just call it a day, and then I will share this notebook. I can also commit the project it created, so why not? Then you will see. We can actually cd to do. You can see git diff. We can see what it's doing, right? So yeah, it's definitely doing something. It's just taking some time to do this. Okay, I see there are no questions. Then yeah, this is something you can try later. So hopefully they fix this problem. I really like the results, but you also saw the results from Anthropic, so I think they are fairly impressive. So this is what we just managed to build in what 1 hour and a half. So this is pretty impressive, right? And if you just follow along this, it will probably take even less time. So I think these agents allow us to really rapid iterations. Okay. Yeah, so if you want, you can connect with me through LinkedIn, add a note, and then Data Talks Lab. What else? And then you'll get an email from Maven with the link to the course and also link to the recording, I think. So if you don't receive the link to recording, yeah, just find me somewhere and yeah, I'll make sure that you get it. Okay, I am going to stop sharing the screen. And yeah, I want to thank everyone of you for joining me today. Have a lovely rest of your day. And yeah, there is another workshop. I shared the link. The workshop will be on September 1st, where we will talk more about agents and agentic flows. So see you soon. Goodbye.